Well, Jenn Grant, what a delight it is to have you at CKUA Studio A. Thank you so much for being here.
So happy to be here.
It's astounding, you get a day off on the road, and instead of taking
I don't want a day off.
Relax,
I need to do something productive. I'll have an evening off. That's perfect for me.
Come down here in the morning, get your non-compulsory work done early.
That's right.
And then you can take it easy.
Yeah.
Well, and you've already taken this show from this, literally, you're just a few shows in. You've already done the East Coast and the West Coast.
We did Prince Edward Island, and then we did Vancouver.
Right, which is interesting.
Which was the show. It was insane. It was like we were sleeping in increments in the air, and then we just landed at loading because everything was really, really, really delayed.
Right.
So it was like PEI Vancouver. Then we went back for several weeks, and then we flew to. Yes, we were in St. Albert and going to Calgary. So yeah.
And how's it been, this whole Cradled by the Waves experience that you've been putting on?
So it's such a good opportunity for me to be able to work with a group of people. Like our home base has just been such a DIY situation for so many years. And, it's just one of the things about touring that I love so much is the people that you're with. And you form this family. And I'm just looking around me all the time, looking at these people that I'm with. And I'm just so pleased that I get to spend this time with them and work on a show together that has so many different elements, and that I get to grow and push myself as an artist to try to make something that is more transformative and hopefully has a purpose.
Right. And I feel like it has a purpose for you, of course. I feel like you also hope that it has a purpose in the larger world as well.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. What kind of work do you hope this is doing in the world?
I hope that it's getting people to take a look at a few different things that we go through in the show. The show is the album in its entirety, but it's set up in a way so that we go through some childhood years and then adolescent, and then after that. I won't say everything to you right now. I can feel that I'm about to ramble for 20 minutes about the show.
That's what we're
I'm just going to stop.
This is the space.
I'm stopping.
But I can tell you that it evinces that feeling in me. Like, I feel like I could drop the needle literally anywhere on this album and I'd probably begin to weep.
That's great. That's what it's good.
It's also weep for joy, and it's
it's a mix of I love when people can touch and feel their emotions, I guess. And this is the time in the world that we really need to, raise up the level of humanity, connect with each other as people. And because we all know that that's being threatened. But I also think there's a positive to that where, when something is threatened and could be potentially taken away from us as a human race, this is the time that we can remember how important that is. There's a big theme of remembering through the show as well, remembering ourselves, the different versions that we've been, who we wish to become, and how we can choose to move through the world to make a better impact.
Nothing that's real ever fades.
That's right.
Wow, I literally just pinned that to the top of my notes on my phone. It's that's something I'll be thinking about for a long time.
Yeah.
And working your way through all those things that have impacted you positively and negatively and have become part of you in one way or another, for better or for worse. And
there's a theme as well of when you experience a big grief in your life that you're heartbroken, but then those cracks, that light can get in there and you can grow taller and stronger. And, there's things like that all throughout the show. So, yes.
I find it heartbreaking and soul affirming at the same time. It's so beautiful, the songs on this record. And this is such an amazing record because, you've been through the biggest transformations there are in life, which is, you've become a parent and you've said goodbye also to people in your life. And this record is also dedicated to your brother.
Yeah.
A lot of closely held, way deep in the heart kinds of things inspiring this music. What was it that kind of spurred you to want to share in this way, which is, not to say that previous records haven't been autobiographical by any means, but this is a real, kind of opening up the cupboard of the soul and just seeing what the inventory is.
The cupboard of the soul. This is record number 9 or 10, if you include the Christmas one.
Right.
Which I don't think you do for some reason. But I think that previously in my songwriting, especially as I began, there was a lot of metaphor, and I focus a lot on I think something that I felt I could do would be tapping into just emotion through the way that I would use my voice and kind of create like images. And I just got more interested in just really, I guess, digging deeper. I wrote a lot of songs for this. Like over 3 years, there were 3 different sections of times that I was writing. Like one was this long weekend, and one was, I forget, but one was at the end, and they were just crazy amounts of writing. So there was 41 songs before we started, but I started sharing stuff that I had never shared before that was so personal towards the end. So a lot of the last songs that I wrote is what made the album, because they all fit together. And then there would just be like a few, from different writing moments. But I think that I know myself better now, a lot better now. I think going through loss and child rearing, I think that really does show you who you are and make you a more reflective person. So, and also the sense of time is more, it's all around you, I think. Yeah.
It feels like the way this album starts with Cuddy Dress is like such a wow. I mean, I don't know whether it's, kind of like the explosive scene at the beginning of a movie or the prologue, which is kind of like closely connected to the present moment in some ways, and then kind of, reveals more as the album goes along. But I'd love to know a little bit about who Cuddy has been for you, and if anybody's listening right now that hasn't been alive in Canada for the last 4 decades, who Cuddy is, and who he's been for your family.
Well, Jim is a dear friend now. We became friends when I was opening for Blue Rodeo across the country. I think the first leg of the tour, though, I had the kids with me. I was nursing. I was barely sleeping, and I barely interacted with him at all. I didn't know him yet. It was COVID. Everyone was really separated. And then there was this night in St. John's, Newfoundland, and he kept saying, like, but when we get to St. John's, you're not taking the kids, and we're all going to have a drink or whatever. And I was like, yeah, we're not taking the kids. So anyways, we went down to the Duke, this pub, and then we ended up chatting for hours, and we just he just feels like a family member kind of to me. So, but growing up, my mom loved Blue Rodeo, she loved Jim, and then I took her to the Juno Awards, and so in 2012, but she had metastatic breast cancer, so it had spread to her liver, so there was a lot of swelling, and we had to get a dress to cover that.
Right.
And then we met Jim when we were coming down the escalators. It was just us, Mom and I. No one else was around except for Jim standing in the lobby.
Wow. How magical is that?
Yeah. And then I took a photo of them, and she was just so shining bright. Her eyes were really shining bright. But, when you get cancer, it's like there's something that your eyes, it changes.
Yeah.
And so that was the last time I saw her eyes like that.
Lighting up for Cuddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And somebody brought that photo to the hospital, because we had to go to the hospital basically right after that, like days after. And she said she wanted to be, we knew she was going to die. And she said she wanted to be laid to rest in the Cuddy dress, where she met Jim. And I said, of course. And then, there was a ceremony of life, but there was also this thing in the song. I refer to it as the make-believe funeral.
Right,
because there was this little funeral home in Cole Harbor, and we had to go there. I was sort of the person that was doing all the logistical stuff for Mom. And when someone dies, there is a lot of logistics and paperwork. And
that's almost the most pulverizing part of it. Just the soul crushing.
Yes, it is soul crushing. I hate paperwork. And so we went down there, and she was there. She was already she was in the Cuddy dress, and she was in a box. And wow. And Danny was playing the Beach Boys on the organ, and my brother was just watching, taking everything in. And I was with our shared dog, Charlie. Mom and I share a dog, our handsome Labradoodle, and I was dancing to the Beach Boys with my mom in this pine casket. And It was so, I don't know if there's a word for what is that word? Do you know it? It's like when it's surreal and the saddest thing you've ever seen, but there's like this magic, and there was a lot of mixture of like, when she died, I mean, I felt as soon as we said goodbye to her, I had this rush feeling go through me, and I smiled at my brother who was on the other side of her, and I was like, I felt like this is my mom's smile coming through me. And I had all of these different experiences like that, and I just feel like her death has really changed me and really opened me up to kind of an otherness, like something other than this world in such a way. And I think that that's something that I put into my art, whether it's painting or music. And then this show has really grown into something where I'm tapping into this other realm through film and theater to connect with my ancestors, to help guide me to be someone who can stand up for human rights and all these things. And so it's all kind of interconnected, and that's kind of a crazy explanation of it, but that's part of it, I think.
Yeah, there's this wild, ecstatically, heartbreakingly sublime, exquisite beauty about a moment like what you described. And
when I was writing this, I wrote the song with Ken Yates.
Oh, right.
And Dan, my husband, Daniel Lidwell, he made that last record with Ken, and I just love that record.
It's incredible.
I listened to the mixes of it for like however long, like 6 months or something, all the time before it was even finished mixes, because I was I convinced him to add me to the Dropbox folder, so I was getting all the updates. But one of the ways that I can write is when I listen to something that I love, and I loved listening to Ken. It was getting me excited about writing and being personal. And then we wrote that song, and I just told him all these things, and those became the lyrics. And sometimes you need another person like that there. It depends who the person is, for you to access this information or these memories. And then I remember this moment of saying, should we say Jim Cuddy Dress? Like, that's crazy. Like, should we just say the Jim Cuddy Dress? I was like, my mom would be so delighted if there was Jim Cuddy Dress. My manager was like thinking that it should be called Heather. I was like, people outside of Canada, what if they don't know Jim Cuddy is? But I'm like, who cares? Like, let's just do Canada anyway. But also, I think they're like, even if you don't know Jim Cuddy, it's like there's a nostalgicness in the song. I think So that's a long story.
Without doubt, it's a beautiful one too. It illuminates for me like one of the things I find so beautiful and nourishing about the record is that there's a grace with which you carry these stories, and you're inhabiting this place which isn't, it's clear that you're at some sort of peace with what's been happening in your life, and you're so enthusiastic about being a conduit for others and their growth.
Thank you so much.
So it makes a lot of sense to me. And also the way that your sense of empathy as conveyed, through these songs and the way that you've kind of brokered an understanding of humanity and mortality in your own heart.
Right.
Is kind of connected to your activism and the things that, animate.
Thank you.
All the things you do in your life, essentially, it seems like.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And I love also there's a connection between the Cradled by the Waves tour, the name that is, and the title track from Queen of the Straits, right? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
The waves of Cradled by the Waves are the waves of the Northumberland Strait. And when I think about that song, I think about, there's two images specifically. I mean, there's a few, but I think about songs a lot with, images. I'd always kind of been like that. Or memories. So there's one where my mother was wearing a jean skirt and a blouse, like a purple blouse, and she was with my cousin Rob, and they were down at the North Shore of the island, of Prince Edward Island, and it was October. And sometimes I think that like she just had this kind of freeness about her. She had a lot of, different qualities, but it was cold out and she was laughing and she just jumped in the ocean it's cold.
Yeah.
She just jumped in there with Rob. And they were swimming and laughing. And I just remember just watching that, And And right before she died, she had this dream that my cousin Rob presented her with this golden key to like go to another world. And then another image is that because my father is turning 93. I've just found out that he has dementia, but I knew. And there's been someone said something to me so lovely the other day that the thing he gave me was music, which is true. He's a retired vascular surgeon, but beautiful piano player. And I did get music from him. And there was a lot of things that he's a very complex figure in my life, but he was married to, still is, a woman, and they'll never hear this, but she was, really mean to me for my whole life. And I don't even talk about it on the record because I don't think it really should be honored in a song, but sure. She's a complex person too. But when I was 10 and my brother was 8, we got on the ferry from PEI to Nova Scotia after a trip, and he just took out this silver watch, and and my brother was this quiet, like he is like my favorite person and this thoughtful, beautiful creature. But he took out, like I was the bad one and he was good, but he took out this silver watch and he just looked at me, and I was like, "What?" And it was her watch, and she had just done something like horrible, I think. And he just threw it into the waves. And that's why in the song I say, a silver watch you stole for the Queen of the Strait. So that's my mother is the Queen of the Strait.
Damn.
And I wrote that song with Kim Harris.
Oh, right, of course. Yeah. Speaking of which, okay, you need like a moment to emotionally process that. That's an incredible, what an amazing way to have kind of had, not importantly the last word, but your very own word on behalf of yourself and your brother and your mother. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. The last word, because in the record, it feels like that. Yeah, not in that moment.
It's the closing track on the record.
Yes.
And what
totally.
What a beautiful, and to have done so while creating this gorgeous work of art for the world to enjoy. That's what you do with feelings, I say.
Yeah.
Let's do more of that
Transform
with feelings.
them.
Yeah. So let's maybe mention the brilliant artists that are joining you on this tour.
Absolutely.
That are lighting up Studio A here at CKUA.
Yeah. Well, I've got Kim Harris, who's one of my dearest darlings. My kids call her Auntie Kim. I love her so much. And she's just one of the most incredible songwriters and singers in the whole world. She's playing keys on the tour, singing, and she wrote that song with me.
Yeah.
Jamie Cronick is playing drums.
Brilliant.
Love him. Carly Howell is playing stand-up bass. My husband, Daniel Ledwell, who co-produced this record with Joshua Van Tassel, is playing
everything.
Everything. That's what I always say too.
Guitars
everything.
And stuff.
And Tanya Davis is on tour with us as a anonymous entity who is helping to tell the stories. And Jose Lozano Garcia is our projectionist who is using new footage developed, filmed by himself and my brother, Daniel Grant, cinematographer, combined with footage of me as a child and my brother as a child throughout the show. So,
what a way to process your life to this point, and your community coming to the fore and bringing all of this art on the road and taking it to the people. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, what a joyful thing this is.
Thank you.
Really appreciate the time and the care that you and your fellow creators have taken in all of this and sharing with us at CKUA.
Thank you so much.
The beautiful, marvelous, brilliant band of Jenn Grant here in CKUA Studio A.
Moved into a tent in Marco Polo land, called it a summer vacation. The house blew away into the field that day. Good thing my brother was paying attention. Last time I saw you, trying to look your best, it was a make-believe funeral. You're in your Jim Cuddy dress. It was the Gold Cup and Saucy Parade. All of the plans that we made. Oh, the Gold Cup and Saucy Parade. Nothing that's real ever fades. Nothing that's real. You can see the lights over the harbor at night from my room at the Stardust Motel. Pull the kitchen down from the wall to the ground.